Joining me now is Michael Geoghegan, political analyst. And Michael, have you gone to bed yet? Are you still up, or are you waking up to see if there's a final decision yet? Thank you for joining us. I know it's early out there.
Yeah, I had a cat nap, but certainly, yeah, we were all up late at night analyzing the results. I mean, welcome to Indecision 2024, right?
BC politics, right? No surprise.
Well, yeah, and so what you have is essential. I mean, there's one riding where I think last time I was looking, there was only 26 votes. The NDP candidate was 26 votes ahead of the Conservative candidate, and I know there's another one where I think it's around 50 seats. So, there's going to be a subject. I mean, this is so close, lawyers are going to get involved. I mean, there's going to be, I would imagine, hand recounting. People aren't just going to rely on Dominion voting machines. They're going to be like, let's hand recount those ballots, and because it's that close. So it's going to be very interesting to see how this all plays out.
Have you ever seen a situation like this where there are so many close races?
Well, I mean, there was virtually a dead heat between the two parties, between the NDP and the Conservatives. So it's no wonder that, some polling companies were showing exactly that. Some were showing the NDP slightly ahead. Some were showing the Conservatives slightly ahead. So it certainly explains the puzzling poll results. But yeah, I mean, we have had close elections, and I'm sure that, political geeks like myself, we're looking at like the '96 election where the NDP squeaked back in. There was some other elections, a couple of that where it was tight, but this has got to be by far the tightest race that I can certainly recall within my memory.
Now, 3 ministers losing their seats, was that expected?
Well, I mean, and one of them was the Minister of Education. So, it's always a thing when you have a race and the government is on the knife edge of going down to defeat, you're going to lose not just backbenchers, you're going to lose some cabinet ministers. So that's just what happens. You get caught up in the general ebb and flow of politics, right? And so unless you're in a very strong riding, that's always in play. In fact, there was some speculation that Eby himself, if the Conservative numbers had been stronger, was going to lose his own riding. So, yeah, no, unless you're in a very solid, safe riding, you got to look over your shoulder whether you're an MLA or cabinet minister.
And just 5 former BC United MLAs, they ran as independents. All of them have lost. That's quite the story from the right side, isn't it?
Yeah, I mean, United essentially folded its tent. I think that was the minimum number they had to run in order to maintain party status. But of course, one of the things that's going to be different the next time there's an election, and who knows when that might be. I mean, we might be into another election sooner rather than later. But certainly it's a thing where the Conservatives are not going to be in the situation where they have virtually nothing in terms of public tax dollars going to fund their campaign, whereas the NDP had millions of publicly funded tax dollars because the formula is calculated on the vote you got in the previous election. So now it's literally going to be a thing where the Conservatives and the NDP are starting out with the same amount of taxpayer dollars in terms of financing their next political campaign, next political election, provincial election.
And just, we're almost out of time, but one more question. Sonia, first now, the Green leader, losing her seat, but the Greens may win too. Does that make them the kingmaker?
Potentially, and certainly it's going to result in some policy things like, do they insist on BC keeping the provincial carbon tax even if the federal government under Poilievre gets rid of it? I mean, there's going to be some real consequences to this knife-edge election.
All right, Michael, thank you very much for staying up or getting up for us or whatever you did, but we appreciate it. Always great talking to you.
You're welcome.